Once you have uploaded that sphere drawing and the Adobe Sketch app, click on that blue plus sign and go to iPad Landscape, and that'll open up a new project. On the left is your brush menu, so you can scroll up and down and see the different options, and you can play around with those. Just don't do a really goopy paintbrush because that's not going to be helpful for us later. For instance, I think the acrylic brush is like really goopy looking, and we don't want that. I usually choose the marker brush, which looks like what I'm on now. And once you select your brush and tap on it again, you'll see 3 circles on the menu. The top one is size. So if you tap on that and then kind of slide up and down, that will change your size of your brush. The middle one is your flow, and that will make it see-through or not so see-through. So that's the opacity pretty much. And then the bottom one is your color wheel. So you could just slide that little circle around, choose your color. As you go towards the center, it changes your tints. And once you choose a color and you use that slider along the bottom, that adjusts for shades. And then you'll see the 3 little the 3 little bars on the bottom, and that does all the same stuff, but just in the menu instead of just that little slider circle thing. Excuse me. So then you'll click on the plus sign, go to image layer, and then you're going to go to on your iPad where you see that sphere that you uploaded. And you can like pinch and expand to make it bigger if you like. And then you can just start painting. Oh, no, I lied. So you're going to want to bring that sketch layer that you made up to the top, click on it, and you can rename it monochromatic, because that's the first color scheme that we're doing. And then tell it done, and then click off of it. Your image layer, you can click on that, rename it sphere, because we're always going to have that directly under our painting or our sketch layer. That's going to be kind of our little cheat guide so we can see the sphere. So once you have that on your monochromatic layer, be sure you're clicked on your monochromatic layer. You can go ahead and start coloring in your sphere, which I'm trying to outline first here. And if you don't get it that careful, that's okay. Just do the best you can. So I outlined and now I'm filling in. Now I'm going to click on my color menu, and I'm going to move that circle straight towards the middle just to get a tint. And I'm going to go in there, and you can barely see it, but I'm going in and changing in my opacity flow, and I'm going in trying to get some lighter tints in there and just slowly building those up with my stylus. If you're using your finger, that's okay too. And so I'm trying to get some little highlights and some tints in there, slowly building them up. Now, if you lost your original color, you can click on that color circle, and then you saw that thing like drag over. So just click on your color circle and hold, and then drag it over to the color. And then you'll see that color kind of get picked up on that little color selector, like an eyedropper thing. And then it'll take it back to whatever color you had previously. And you'll see me do it a lot on this. So I went back to my yellow. There it is. So I went back to my yellow, and I went to a shade on the bottom and got a darker yellow. Now I'm going back to my original yellow, and and I wish you guys could see my marks, but you can't. So I went back to my original yellow, and I tried to blend it some more. Now I'm adding a little bit more shades again. There's my color eyedropper thing. And now I've got my original yellow, and I'm going in on my background because this is monochromatic, so we only want one color plus tints and shades. I didn't like that one, so I hit an undo. Adjusting my flow. So adjust your size, adjust your flow, adjust your tints, all that fun stuff as you go. Because it's like normal painting, but we're just doing it on our iPad. So I'm putting a little halo of the ground on there, and I'm filling in my little cast shadow. Now I'm doing the rest of my little halo and my ambient tone in the background. And then I'll go through and I'll make some adjustments because we don't want just yellow all around everywhere, right? Because that's going to be confusing. It looks like our ball is like glowing, and that's not what we want. So I'm going in and I'm getting my tints again, and I'm going to go in and adjust some of that background a little bit in my ambient tone. I think I changed. No, I guess I'm going with this one. No, I do change it. There we go. Yeah. So I'm going in and just adjusting my ambient tone a little bit. I'm making where my sphere is darker. I'm making my ambient tone a little bit lighter because you kind of want the opposite. There, that's where I changed it. I knew I did it at some point. So I got that background, that ambient tone fixed, and now I'm going in and I'm changing that to a shade, and I'm going to make where the sphere is lighter, I'm going to make my background darker, because if we do the opposite, it makes it stand out more. So now I'm picking up my yellow again, and I think oh yeah, now I'm going in with a very see-through flow of the original yellow and just trying to blend it in a little bit more so it's not so streaky. Now I'm going to work on the ground, so I'm filling in my cast shadow. Just so it looks like we want to have that so it doesn't look like our sphere is just floating in space. If we put that cast shadow on there and we make that table line, it feels like it's sitting somewhere. So now I'm going in with my dark, like my number 10 dark, getting my cast shadow in there. I think I fiddle with that a little bit more too at some point. I think I need to make my shade darker on my sphere. Yes. Oh. See, I know what I'm doing eventually. So I'm making my shade a little darker. I'm making the flow a little lighter. And again, just blending that in. Okay. So it's kind of like the same as in real life. If you were painting with real paint, you would have your paper towel there and you'd kind of get some of that paint off of your brush so you could blend in that yellow in with your shade. And remember, anytime you make a mistake, just go back to that undo button and fix it. I think I'm almost done here. Oh, now it's telling me my Apple Pencil battery's low. Okay, so now I'm using my eyedropper tool, and I think I'm making my swatch. So this is something you have to do. Put a little blurb of the colors that you used. You just have to do the hues. You don't have to do tints and shades. So put a little blurb, and I'm getting in a different tool because I can't write with a marker brush or whatever brush I accidentally hit. So I'm using like a pencil or an ink tool, and I'm making the color black. And I'm labeling my color yellow, and I'm labeling this one monochromatic at the bottom. So you need to do that. You need to have a little swatch of each color, not the tints and shades, just your hues, and then label the color scheme that it is. All right, so monochromatic is complete. So now we're going to do the next at some point. There we go. So now we're going to do a new sketch layer, and we're going to name it analogous. So tap on that new sketch layer, tap on that title up by the eyeball, and call it analogous. Hit done. And then we're going to move that sphere layer up a level. So just tap and slide that sphere layer so it's above your monochromatic. And if you want to, if you double tap on that monochromatic, it'll turn it off and you see the eyeball with the slash through it. That means it's not visible. So if you don't have to though, because our sphere layer is going to be covering up that layer once we drag it up to there. So now I'm going to do monochromatic. I'm analogous. And when we have analogous, we have 3 colors. Okay. So I'm going to choose red and violet and orange, if I remember right. So while I'm painting this one, I'll tell you when you have three colors to deal with, it's kind of easy because you could do the sphere one color, your background or your ambient tone, your second color, and then your ground or table, your third color. You don't just want to do flat, like how I said my ground, I think my ground's purple or violet. I'm not just going to have violet on that ground. I want to have tints and shades in that ground as well. And you'll see in my example how I incorporate that. On the tetradic color scheme, you're going to have four colors to deal with. And how we do that is look to see where you can incorporate colors with each other. So say we're doing red and green and violet. Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah, red and green and then violet and yellow. All right. So we can use violet and yellow overlap in each other and like blend it together, say in that background or on the sphere, if we used one of those colors as the sphere. So that's how you would handle using four colors in one in a sphere drawing that essentially only has like three sections. But so just overlap those colors, make it so we can blend, or make it so we can see each of them though. So make it a little brushier. Don't blend it out so much that you're like making it a completely different color. So here I have my sphere with my tints and my shades. And it looks like I need to bring that highlight up some more. So I'm scooching into the center of my color wheel and I'm building that up. If it's not building up fast enough for your taste, be sure you make your opacity higher on your flow. And so that it won't take as long. Now I'm picking my red again. Oh, look at that. I'm making my swatch ahead of time because I realized as I was working on these that if I kind of put a swatch in on the side as I go, that's an easier place for me to kind of drag my eyedropper over and get that little sample. So I always have that going for me on my swatches on the left. Then I could just bop over, get my red again, or my violet, or whatever the color is that I need. And it's easy access that way. So it's like a little menu happening there. So here I'm putting my violet on my ground. And just throwing some violet in my cast shadow. You don't want to have solid black in that cast shadow, okay? It's good to show some colors in there. That's why I've been filling in that cast shadow with the color and some shades of that color, not just black, okay? Shadows aren't just solid black. There I'm putting in, that I am using solid black right up against that sphere because we want to have a nice contrast and value between that edge of that shadow and our actual sphere, because that makes the sphere just pop out. Now I'm putting my little swatch. And now I'm going to a nice orange. And I'm going to do my ambient tone, or also called your background. So I'm going to go in and throw some, I'm just doing the straight hue, like a nice little halo around. Okay, just filling it in. And then I go in and add in some tints and shades. So I think I do a tint first. Yeah, just sliding it over towards the center. And I'm putting in some tints, and you could barely see where I'm doing it, but I'm lightening up that value of my orange where my sphere is dark. Again, you want, usually if you have dark object, you want light background, and where you have light object, you want dark background because you want that contrast there. You don't want your values to blend. You want contrast in your values. So here I'm picking up that orange and I'm just sliding that bar on the bottom, getting a little bit of shades. And I'm just adding in some shades into my ambient tone there. Picking up my orange again. And I'm making my swatch. Doink, there we go. Now I'm going to more of a writing brush. And I'm going to go ahead and label my swatches. I think. What am I doing? What's happening? Oh, I guess I'm probably adjusting my ground a little bit somewhere. Oh yeah, so right where my dark ambient tone hits that table line, I'm lightening up my ground. And I'm lightening it up on the other side too. Oh, well, that's a choice. Okay, so now maybe I'm getting my writing utensil. Yeah, maybe. Go away. Go away. Sorry. Okay, so now I'm I'm adding in a little bit of reflected light on my sphere with a tint of red. Just because it looks nice. If you don't get that detailed with yours, that's totally fine. Now I'm getting a writing utensil and I'm telling it to use black, which is not a big deal if you don't use black on yours. So I'm labeling red, I'm labeling violet, and I'm labeling orange. And I shall write analogous on the bottom. I know it seems repetitive, but I really want you guys to get these in your noggins. So I'm just going to show you the very beginning of how to do the next one. So what we do is do a new sketch layer. We're going to name this one, this will be complementary. So click on it. Oops, I moved my sphere layer up. Now I'm going to click on my new sketch layer, name it complementary, and then I'd go ahead and start painting again. So, and you'll see how my weird typing, I was trying to type with my stylus, and that's why it's all issues. So hopefully this clarified some things for you. Just don't forget you need to upload that sphere kind of template thing that I have in the directions on Canvas. Upload that image to your iPad images. And yeah, I think that's all. So feel free to ask in person or email or Canvas message me if you have any questions. Thank you very much. Bye.